hit the subscribe button if you want to receive more notifications of uploads. Also, give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video and leave a comment. I love to hear from you. Hello and welcome to the Shirley Ryder Show, and you're with Shirley Ryder, and today we have EMILY MACKLOW on the show. So, hello EMILY.
Hello.
And welcome.
Hello.
Yep. So, of course, EMILY, do you want to start off with telling us what it is that you do?
Sure.
Musically.
I have my finger in a lot of different pies.
Yeah.
But my main pie is my own original music. So my music name is M. River, and I play a variety of instruments and write songs and record my own music. I just put an album out that I recorded and mixed and produced myself.
Wow.
Which was quite a learning curve.
Wow. So you have a studio here?
I did it in my back bedroom, yeah.
Awesome.
So it's not a studio as such, but it did the trick.
But you know, I was talking to Les Robinson last interview, and he was saying about, you know, recording, and because they went up to Neil Finn's studio and recorded their one. But he was saying, like, you know, some of the stuff, it's actually okay just recording in your, you know, in your bedroom and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, you can actually get some quite good stuff happening.
You can.
So,
it's amazing, and there's so much on, you know, so many programs that we can have.
Yeah.
Times have changed
Yeah.
in terms of that.
That's
technology is so accessible to anybody
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then I could do it in my own time frame.
Yeah.
And
That's
not
right.
be under any pressure.
Yeah.
So it worked well for me.
So we're going to get on to talking about your music and your, because of course you play lots of musical instruments.
Yes.
We're going to find out all about that soon as well. But first of all, just rewinding it all back, and just wondering how you got into music.
Well, I was born into a musical family. My mother played the cello. She went to Juilliard School of Music.
Yeah.
And so when I was in her womb, she would place that instrument right against her womb and play.
Oh,
so
nice.
Yeah, so I had quite an early introduction to the soothing, you know, tones of music and that deep, rich sound of the cello. So I love the cello.
So do you play the cello?
No, funnily enough, no. I never once even picked it up. I was just, it was clear that was her instrument. And for me, I went to an overnight with a friend when I was 6, and her family had a piano. I'll play a song that I wrote about going adventuring in the bus. So I started piano when I was 8. And my mother finally, on my 8th birthday, she sent me out of the house, and I came back in, and there was a piano with a big pink ribbon on it. And so thanks to my mother, I play. Yeah. She took me to lessons every week and paid for them and kept me on track. You know, she'd be listening in the next room. Emily, is that what you're supposed to be practicing? Yeah.
And how far did you get with all your grades?
So I didn't do grades and exams, but I studied for 8 years.
Oh, so you would have got...
So I was at least...
Do you teach?
I teach, yes.
I thought
so that's my one of my pies that my fingers are very much in.
So you're teaching piano?
I teach piano and beginner's guitar and a bit of voice.
Right.
Piano is my main instrument.
Okay, so moving from the piano, and what happened next on your timeline?
Well, I was born and raised in the States, and I decided to go off on a journey, an overseas experience, and realized I couldn't take my piano. So,
a keyboard or a guitar?
I bought a guitar. I bought a guitar and taught myself to play, and had that on my journeys, which turned into quite an odyssey. So I was in South America, but I ended up here in New Zealand, and never left, really. No. Yeah.
So what sort of guitar do you play?
So I play acoustic folk guitar.
Folk guitar.
Yes. Oh, forest streets, how right beside your streams, they're all remain. For me, it was quite automatic because of playing piano to play the finger style.
Yes.
And picking guitar.
Okay, and of course you know the chords and you know the notes and all that from the piano, because I was the same. I learnt a bit of piano first, and then I went to and learnt a little bit of the guitar. So, but it gives you that grounding to move.
It does. Piano is an excellent foundation.
Absolutely, because you can see it.
It's so visual. The learning. Yeah.
Whereas
learning
the
about the semitones and whole tones and. Yeah.
What's that?
I know, it's not quite the same.
No, it's not visually.
Yeah, so it's an ancient instrument called a psaltery, PSA, psaltery. And this, I heard it, a friend of mine was playing it and just, again, fell in love and got one made in Germany. They're just made in Germany and sent to me. And it's a very gentle, shimmery sound, and I wrote a lot of lullabies for my children on it when they were young. So I will be putting out a CD of lullabies.
So you're tuning at the moment?
Yes, just by ear. So this has 10 strings.
Yeah.
And the usual tuning, but it's not in that tuning now, but is in the C scale. And then it goes up to the D, and it has the dominant G as well.
Right.
But I've just given it an F sharp.
Yep.
And so now it's in G. So, and it's pretty easy. I just grab the tuner. If I want to play an F, then I put the F sharp down and put the B down to B flat, or it's kind of easy to to play it in different keys. So I'll play a song that I wrote when I had my third miscarriage. I forgot to tell you about all that. This instrument was good because I was on bed rest, and you can play it lying down.
Oh, great.
So. Tree may not blossom, and there be no fruit on the vine, yet I'll lift my eyes. And even though the garden yield no harvest, and there be no fruit on the olive tree, yet I will arise, for the sun will rise every morning, and the birds will sing along. So I will make my feet like a deer's feet. I will walk on high places, for the light is my song.
Beautiful.
Thank you. So that's just the first verse. There's more, but I'm just playing little excerpts.
Is that from the Bible?
That's from the Bible.
That's what it was. Oh, is it? What would that be, Psalms?
Hosea, I think. No. I can't remember now. It's been a long time since I knew the Bible really
well.
A
Bible quiz?
I used to know all these things, but it's been a while.
Yeah.
I've always been interested in the music and instruments of different cultures.
Yes.
And before I left the States, I dove headfirst into studying music. So it was my major at uni.
Right.
And it was a wonderful school, and that there were opportunities to learn many different world instruments and different world musics. So so along with the traditional music studies like music theory and music history and all those things and composition, I also took North Indian classical music and African, and I was in a Balinese gamelan orchestra, And I started a little vocal ensemble, singing Slavic and Celtic and African songs, folk songs from all around the world. So that's always been a passion of mine.
Right.
I really love that, and I'm fascinated with different instruments. And so I encountered a little sort of harp, which I'll show you.
Oh.
I forgot to get out, but that's made in Germany. It's actually not really a harp. It's a modern representation of an ancient psaltery. So the psaltery, you know, in the Bible, there's the Book of Psalms.
Yes.
And so there's.
I actually listen to it a lot.
Oh,
do you know I listen to Psalms when I go to sleep?
Oh, really?
I love it.
Yes. So I married a Kiwi. And the best of the best. Yes, and we actually went to Australia for about 16 years, and that's where we got married and had our 4 children. But they all have their New Zealand birth certificates and New Zealand passports. And we were married for 21 years. And this is where, life is just such an amazing tapestry of interesting experiences.
It is.
We all have our story, and we all have our challenges, and we all have our heartaches. And you can't compare one person's triumphs and heartaches with another, because we're just all so different. And my main heartache has been that 3 years ago my husband died of suicide.
Oh.
Yeah, and we'd been married for 21 years. The father of our 4 children, who are not children anymore.
No.
And the grief that suicide brings is quite a complicated grief. I mean, anybody who dies suddenly, it leaves people feeling regret, and even guilt maybe. But with suicide, it's even more so. It's compounded.
Yeah.
So it was quite a journey. I was thrust on the journey of grief.
What would you sort of, I don't know what you'd want to say about it, or if you would have any ways that might help people, either who are facing those thoughts themselves or have people around them that might be. Yeah,
well, I think it's really important, and ever since this time of losing him, I've been quite passionate about making sure that there's an environment and a climate where people feel free to share their story and their struggles, and just to know that we all have our struggles.
We do, yeah.
Nobody needs to feel they're going to be judged for having depression, for instance.
No.
And for myself, and just dealing with the grief, I'm so grateful I had music. That was a huge part of my healing. Not that I'm completely healed. It's something that'll be the rest of my life.
I find that too. It's such a great way to express the emotions, strong emotions that we go through.
It really is. And sometimes I would just sit at the piano and just pour out what I was feeling. So I couldn't put it into words, but I could get it out that way.
Do you have any songs that you've written?
I have many. In fact, I released a whole album of songs.
And was that to do with the grief, or through the grief?
It was a lot to do with the grief. It was, well, for me, music is medicine. It's been quite a medicine to me. And a friend of mine, this is another instrument I'll bring up.
Yeah.
A friend of mine had made an ngoni, which is an African harp. And he brought it. He just arrived one day and said, "Here, you want to borrow this for a while?" Yeah. And it's such a beautiful instrument. It's just got a deep, rich, soothing tone.
Is that the one you were talking about before? Is that
that's this one behind me? Yes.
So you're going to show us that
I'll show you that one as well. And so my whole album is on that instrument, and they're very simple medicine songs.
Lovely. So we might be able to hear something from the album, or maybe something on that live.
Absolutely.
Get you to
both, all right.
Today.
I went to a folk festival with it, and I was called the Pumpkin Lady.
Yes.
Because it's a gourd, so it is a bit like a pumpkin.
Oh, I see.
It's a gourd with a stick through it, and this is just fishing line, but it's got a beautiful sound, and it's pentatonic scale.
Yeah.
So it lends itself to quite simple chant-like music.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking forward to having a listen.
So
what are you going to play on it?
So I'll play a little slice of the title track for the album, which is called Heart to Heart.
Great. Yay.
There is an awakening, wide open our hearts. There is an awakening, wide open our hearts. Heart to heart, our love will shine. Heart to heart, our love will shine. Heart to heart, our love will shine. Heart to heart, our love will shine.
That is so lovely.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
So they're all those kind of songs, very
Lovely.
gentle.
Oh, I was just about nodding off.
They are very lullaby-like.
Yeah,
Yes.
lovely. Thank you.
So I might get my.
And is that one that you wrote?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's one. Of
What was that one about? That there was an awakening. What do you mean by that?
Grief often brings us to a place where suddenly the sky opens up and we can see life in a whole different perspective. And so, for me, that was an awakening.
Oh,
And
yeah, I get you.
yeah, and I feel that there is an awakening happening. People
Yeah.
remembering what's really important. You know,
Yes,
we've been
we
kind of
should.
caught up in since the Industrial Revolution, really caught up in the whole race of
Yes.
wealth
Yeah.
and sort of moved away from our tribal lifestyle. And a lot of people are remembering that we need each other. We need each other in
We
this
do.
life. And
not
that's
just-
really what life is. That's the fabric of life, is our
Yeah.
connections to one
that's
another.
right. And I think there's so many fake connections, you know, with social media, and it's not real, is it?
Mm.
Well, yes, some that can be, but you know.
Yeah. Well, that's the danger, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's just all very fake,
It's
a lot of
all-
it.
Yeah.
Not real.
But we need each other, and
We
we
do.
just went through the lockdown where we had to sort of isolate.
That's right.
And
Did you do that on your own?
no,
So you
so
would have had a cat. Yeah,
Yes.
I did that on my own.
oh
yeah, my
really?
cat.
Wow, how was that?
It's actually pretty good. I rang up my dad
Nice.
because my dad lives on his own, and I
Uh-huh.
said, "Oh, Daddy, you all right?" And he goes, "Oh, it's no different to me." He never leaves the house.
Yeah, and I think it's that way often for creatives. We're used
Yeah.
to sort of putting our head down and
Yeah,
just creating.
I was
so-
actually quite happy.
yeah, I
It's
did
a-
fine too. And
hardly
I
ever.
loved the piece. I just
I loved
loved
it too. It was
going
great.
for walks and seeing all these families out walking
Yeah.
together. That was beautiful.
Oh,
But I was also aware during that time that not everybody's as privileged as
No,
I am, and
exactly.
not everybody is safe at home.
No,
So that
yeah.
kind of weighed on me as well. So-
because for me, when I write, you know, when you're talking about grief, because I've actually written an album recently that's still finishing off at the studio, but it was written out of grief for when I was diagnosed with cancer. But it's not about cancer. And I was going to ask you, you know, it's sort of taking, it's how it's turned out, it's very real, but it's the emotions
Yeah.
have sort of, some of them are quite melancholy, but it's put into a sort of almost a positive message. Yeah. And I was wondering, like, with yours, like, how did you, I mean, you know, you might be completely different how you write out of grief.
For me, pretty much all the songs are coming from a place of well, grief, and especially the sudden grief of losing someone in that fashion. It really broke my heart wide open, and I was. It sort of thrust me on an amazing journey of seeing life in a whole different light, seeing what really matters in life, and for me, that's the connection I have with people, and also with this beautiful planet that we live on, and also a spiritual sort of. It was like I had a sort of a relinking to God, or, you know, I don't even know what to call, whatever people call this, what links us all together. And so my album and all the songs in it sort of came from that place, and it's actually, they're not really sad. They're not sad songs. They didn't come from, you know, it wasn't something that I played while I was weeping to get the tears out. It was more songs that I sang to express the wonder of life, that despite the tragedies, despite the heartaches, it's such a beautiful thing. And I mean, there is one song that I wrote to my soul, you know, saying, rise up out of the ashes. Sometimes wildfires come in out of nowhere and just burn everything down that's dear to you, and you're sitting in the ashes.
And isn't it funny, you know, I had a conversation with best friend actually recently about this. It's not, sometimes it's like it's the things that we don't see coming, that come.
I know.
Like, we can sit there forever worrying about this, that, and everything else. I never saw ovarian cancer coming.
Yeah.
I never saw that. I was worried because I'd lost my job. Who cares? You know?
I know. It really puts things into perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it's true, they come, sometimes it's just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And, you know, such huge effect they have. And so much loss. And yet, so I was telling my soul, rise up, because you can grow wings and you can fly again.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and for me it's helped to be open about my journey. I've shared my journey a lot and found that there's so many others who, you know, understand and are going through their own grief or have had their own struggles that are similar, especially with mental health. So it's been, not only has it been helpful for me to just be open and to allow whatever was there to be there, but it ends up being helpful for others as well. Yeah,
well, I'm sure hopefully help people watching too. Yeah, thanks for that. So where are we now on the musical timeline?
Well, that's quite recent, my Ngoni album. There are many projects I'm still involved with. Do you want to tell us as well? Well, there's the music teaching, as we briefly just touched on, and I love passing on my passion for music. That's quite wonderful. Cool. Yeah, but the other thing I'm involved in is running a choir, which meets every week at the Mount. Right. And that I've been running that for about 5 years now. Okay. Was that be at Totara Street or somewhere? It used to be. So we started in the inception. We were at Totara Street, and then it started clashing. Our practice times would clash with gigs, which took precedence. Yeah. So I'm sort of still on the search for a good venue. Anybody know of one? Let me know. But that's, as I said, our main goal is to have fun together. Yeah. And we absolutely achieve that every week. Yeah. It's a lot of fun, but it's also been a huge part of my healing journey. Yes. You do gigs, solo work, duo work, because I met Emily, you know, at our place, wasn't it? Yes, it was. With Jen, yeah. So that was when I met you. And you work with Alice C as well. Sometimes. So she was similar, isn't she, what she does? Yes. Yeah. We love just getting together and jamming as well. It's a lot of fun. Yeah. But she helped me perform my album. So my album mostly is me. I played everything, including the flutes, which I forgot to tell you about. But and percussion. But I did bring a few people in to do a few things. Okay. And then to perform it, I got a whole bunch of wonderful women to support me. Lovely. Okay, so moving forward, so we've got the past, the present, and into the future. Anything up and coming for you? Yes, well, I'm busily working on too many albums at once, actually. I've got to start narrowing it down and decide which one to release next. But the very next one is a single that I just finished mastering myself. First time I've ever mastered. So, I'm learning as I go. Wow. And I have a friend in Australia who does beautiful wedding films, and he's working on a music video. So I'll release it at the same time as the music video. I'm excited about that. Yeah, that'll be great. And that's on the piano. That's a piano song. Looking forward to seeing that one. And
And have you got a page we can find you on Facebook?
Yes,
or internet
yes.
or?
M River on Facebook.
So how do I spell that one?
EMRIVER.
On Facebook.
M
Cool.
River. And I'm also on Bandcamp, and you can find me on Spotify
Great.
and all those platforms as well, YouTube.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh, look, thank you very much for inviting me into your home.
Thank you for inviting me to talk.
As a guy, it is an absolutely beautiful house. Unfortunately, you can't see it because the camera's pointing this way. But it's a lovely place. It's amazing.
You.
And of course, you know what we didn't talk about?
What's that?
You have house concerts here sometimes.
Yes, it's a great place for having house concerts.
Yeah.
And actually, that's where I did my album release. I chose to do, because it was such heart-filled content. I really wanted something more intimate.
Lovely.
So it was a really beautiful, intimate
It's a perfect place for a house concert.
Yeah, and we've had many. We've had, and there will be more.
Yes. Cool. Oh, well, thank you very much for being on the show. And hope to see more of you around.
Yeah.
Maybe at our place. Who knows?
Maybe.
Thanks, guys, for watching. I'll catch you later. Remember to hit the subscribe button if you want to receive more notifications of uploads. Also, give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video and leave a comment. I love to hear from you.